FOG number 157 is Sam Thaiday. Sam is quite rightly considered among the elite of the game of rugby league. Born in Townsville, Sam ended up playing more than 300 games for the Brisbane Broncos, 29 for Queensland and 32 tests for Australia. After making his Origin debut in 2006, Sam did not play in a losing series until 2014. In 2008, Sam Thaiday was named in the Indigenous Team of the Century, and in 2011 was named the second rower of the year at the Games International Awards. A member of Brisbane's 2006 premiership winning side, Sam sits third on the list of games played for the club.
Well, Sam Thaiday, thanks for your time. What does it mean to you to be a FOG?
Well, I think as a young kid growing up in Queensland, it's something that you always want to do, is represent Queensland at any level. I can remember seeing kids walking around in Townsville in full Queensland tracksuits. You didn't need it in Townsville at all, but it was pretty cool to have that swagger enough to wear a Queensland tracksuit. But for me to get the chance and opportunity to play for Queensland was a dream come true. Something that I worked so hard for, and you come in as a young kid to play first grade, and you have some little goals, and playing for Queensland was definitely one for me. And when I got the chance and opportunity in 2006, I was a kid in a candy store. I had my 21st birthday in Origin camp, once I had that first taste, it was something that I never wanted to give up.
What was it like growing up in Townsville as a young bloke? Because in your, I suppose, developmental days, there were no Cowboys in the competition then. So the local competition and that far North Queensland area, it was very, Townsville and Cairns and Mackay and those areas would have been a lot different to what they are now.
Yeah, I think you can call it a country comp, because essentially they are big towns, but I think the country comp was pretty strong and pretty tough. I can remember watching a Foley Shield game as a young kid, but for myself, not having a team locally as a young kid, it was, I think I was 10 years of age when the Cowboys started in Townsville, and I can always remember sitting down. It was the only time we sat down as a family and all watched something together on the TV was when State of Origin was on. And it was a bit of a weird one for us too, because my mum's Western Australian. She was a farm girl from over there. Again, my dad, proud Torres Strait man, so he knew and understood what it was all about to be a Queenslander. Very, very proud people up there in the Torres Strait. They love State of Origin football. I kind of held on to hope and a dream that maybe it could be me one day on that TV, knowing that there'll be another family somewhere that is sitting down all together watching it. I don't think I lasted the whole night watching the whole game, being a young fella, but there was enough rugby league inspiration in Townsville to have a dream and aspire to chase that dream.
A little bit of a late start, not playing your first real organised football until the age of 12. So what was that about? Why did you start a little bit later than, say, a 5 or 6 year old kid?
I was going to the Olympics, that's why. I did athletics from the age of 6, and only due to the athletics club folding and not being able to hold itself up financially, if it wasn't for that, I probably would still be doing athletics throughout my junior years. But the Upper Ross Pandas we had the white shirts with the black sleeves and a big panda bear on the front, and it just ceased to exist anymore. And my brother went off and played soccer because all of his mates were, and then my group of friends at school, they were all league players, and being a kid that was pretty big at that time, my mates were pretty keen to get me on their footy team.
When did it become serious? When did you start realising that you're a cut above, the guys you're playing, and started thinking about the development of your career?
It was probably late in high school. Around grade 10, I was pretty keen to say see you later to high school and go out and get a trade and start my working life. But there was one teacher at the time, George Bartlett, played for the North Sydney Bears, played for the Cowboys as well. Finished off his career, and he was our sports teacher at Kerwin High School. Pretty much sat me down and said, that I was a pretty handy player, and if I applied myself and worked hard, anything was possible. And he also, made a bit of a pact with me and said that he would show up if I showed up. And it's funny in hindsight, looking back, he had to show up. He was a school teacher. He had the key to the school and to get in the gym. But anyway, it worked for me, and he was there every morning. I was there. The extra stuff on the field really helped out, and then it gave me that ability to dare to dream. And I applied myself over the next kind of couple of years. I did come back, and I finished grade 11 and grade 12 at Kerwin High School in Townsville, and fantastic years. Got to play in 2 state championships. Unfortunately, lost both of them. Beaten by Palm Beach Scrum and beaten by Wavell High. But that experience of playing some good quality rugby league really gave me a taste of what could be.
Did you want to play for the Cowboys?
Yeah, it's funny. Every time I'd go back to Townsville to play against the Cowboys, front page, back page of the Townsville Bulletin would be, the kid that got away, Sam Thaiday is so unhappy that he never played for the Cowboys. But of course, I grew up in Townsville. I played for Townsville Brothers in the shadows of the old stadium. The old it had a few different names: Dairy Farmers, 1300 Smiles, Stockland Stadium at one point. I definitely had aspired to play for him, but I think moving away from home, coming to Brisbane, having to work hard down here, having the mentors and the coaching that I had down here is really what set me up for the career that I had. I had players down here I got the last year of Andrew G's career. He was at the Broncos from the beginning, I think. I had Shane Webke, Petro Sivanasiva, Brad Thorne had come back and he was at the club. We had Gordy's last years at the club as well. So I had some great forward mentors there, and then being able to be coached by Wayne Bennett. Kevin Walters was my first reserve grade coach for the Toowoomba Clydesdales. That's what really made my career. It wasn't, by me playing in Townsville was going to be a totally different story. And no disrespect to the players that were there at the time, they just weren't the calibre of players that were at the Broncos. And I think having a super competitive environment as well. I was a young kid nipping at the heels of these guys, and we had Dane Carlaw, Corey Parker, Brad Myers, Carl Webb. They were the next incumbents. They were the next forwards that were going to get through and be promoted into the first grade team. And then they had guys like myself, Neville Costigan, Benny Hennett, Tom Leroy Lars. We were trying to nip at their heels. So I think there's so many things that go into having such a great career. You need talent, first and foremost. You need to be able to work hard. But I think there's a little bit of timing and a little bit of luck in the way that things pan out as well. So I would have loved to have played for the Cowboys. Didn't happen. I'm a Cowboys fan. I've got a Cowboys jersey in the cupboard at home.
You were a kid, basically, though, when you came to Brisbane. How tough was it?
Yeah, 17-year-old kid. I can remember graduating high school. 2 weeks later, I'm moving down here, November 1, to start training. I had mates that were going off to schoolies and enjoying themselves and having fun and thinking about what they were going to do next year. And it was kind of good in the sense that I knew what my plan was. I was going to come down to Brisbane and have a fair crack. But yeah, it suffered a lot of homesickness when I first moved down here. The first kind of November, December, the first few months of training were very hard, and that's what pre-season's all about. And I'd never trained that hard in my life. But I was also by myself. I was living with a family. I had a little homestay down here. Ed and Anita Mealy, they were absolutely incredible, and I appreciate them offering their house for me to stay. But I was there by myself. The other guy I was supposed to move down with, Drew Donovan, he had made the Australian schoolboys team. They were off on their tour overseas, and he wasn't starting training until January. So I was kind of on my lonesome. And I can remember going home for the Christmas break after that first bit of block of pre-season, and having a bit of a discussion with Mum about, it's too hard, I just want to stay home. And, I said, I miss my family, I miss my friends. And she said, well, you make your family where you are at the end of the day. Go down there, work hard, get through the rest of the pre-season, we'll see what happens off the back of that. And I progressed really quickly, which was, great. I got promoted from the Colts squad into the reserve grade squad. I was then training with Kevy. Then I was training with the Brad Myers, the Corey Parkers, the Dane Carlos, the Carl Webbs. I was training with those guys, so I was learning off them, and we would run a post stuff against the first graders, and you learn more stuff off them. So I got through that first period, but yeah, it was definitely tough to start off with, and I did have to make my family where I was, and had some good mates at the time. Had Donald Malone, who's Steve Renoff's nephew, Ian Lacey as well. These guys really took me into their little family groups they had here in Brisbane, and really helped me out.
What was it like then at the age of 18, at the back end of the 2003 season, when you played your first inaugural game against the Bulldogs? What was that step up like, and what are your memories of your debut?
Yeah, 11th of July, 2003. So yeah, a month earlier, I just turned 18, 12th of June. And it was incredible. It was something that I was working so hard for, and I can still remember ringing Mum and telling her, that I was going to make my debut. And it was one of those I told you so moments, as parents do get to have every now and then, about the whole, going back and working hard and pushing through some hard times to get the rewards that you want. But I think I was, super silly. My first run, I think I ran straight at Mark O'Mealy. He levelled me. My second run was off a penalty. I think I ran straight at Mark O'Mealy again. He levelled me again. Bit of a screw loose, some would say. But I loved it. Got to play at Suncorp Stadium. And once I had a taste, I was in 100%.
Gave you a taste, because that was the only game you played that year. So the off-season and heading into 2004, was that little taste maybe a pivotal moment, the fact that you had it and it went and you had to wait another 6-7 months before you got another chance? Do you reckon that was a motivation for you over that summer, that off-season?
Well, I think the best and the worst part about that game was I got a taste, but then I got injured in that game as well. I had a syndesmosis injury, so then I'd missed footy, and then that Christmas break was brilliant for me. It was there was a little bit of a sense of I've done it, I've made it, but also I've done it, I've made it. I want to have more of it. It's like finding and figuring out that you've nailed your favourite chocolate cake recipe. And when you've had a taste of it, you just want to keep on making it. And that's what I wanted. I wanted more and more cake at the end of the day. And I just wanted to make sure that I was a more consistent player and played a little bit more football in the following season.
Well, how would you like to be the owner of one of these? A FOG's authentic game ball signed by Wally Lewis at the 2023 Wally Lewis medalist Reuben Cotter. Now, all you have to do is subscribe, like, and drop a comment below. And each week, gentlemen, we'll be giving away one of these footballs to one of the viewers of the FOG's Queenslander podcast. Well done.
Well, it's good to be able to hand them on to the general public who like it, as long as we don't get blamed for breaking one of Mum's windows when they're kicking it around the backyard, or or
Sure, this
tossing
one
it
will be
around.
framed,
But
mate. This will be framed in a nice
Reuben Cotter's name. Wow.
Do you know how to subscribe and like and do all that, Gilly? No?
something. We can help you, mate. We can help you.
Help me out, fellas.
The two daughters can help
Very
him out.
handy.
So we have one of these to give away each week until stocks run out, until Wally gets sick and tired of signing them and Reuben Cotter disappears. But just subscribe to our channel, FOG's Queenslander Podcast. Write a comment below and click that like button. Everyone goes into the draw, and we've got one of these to give away each week.
I think it's fair to say, is it not, that 2006, one of the biggest years of your life, Origin debut, grand final, premiership, etc., etc. Take us back to 2006. What are your memories of that year?
Well, I'll go back to the start. It was the hardest pre-season camp we've ever been through. We did a 6-day army camp. It was a bit of a mind at the end of the day. They got us at the club. They told us we were going up the Sunshine Coast. Bring your surfboards, bring your golf clubs, boys. It's going to be great. We're going to have so much fun up there. And we all rocked up and parked our cars. And there's a group of army guys that were there, and they pretty much ripped into us straight away. Get out in the field. Take your civilian clothes off. We're out of here. I had these army clothes on the ground. We had to put them on, and 6 of the hardest days of a pre-season camp that I've ever been through. But it had brought us together so well. It had kind of highlighted certain people within the team that had some really great qualities about them and some great leadership skills, and they were the guys that really led us throughout that season to make sure that we won the premiership at the end of the year. And I think that also then set me up for the middle of the season in making my Origin debut. Queensland were off the back of a few serious losses in a row. Mel had just been appointed the new coach of the Queensland side, and he wanted a fresh start, and I was so lucky to be one of those fresh young faces that he gave a crack. And remember the first game and narrowly losing it by 1 point, having the opportunity to come back here to Suncorp Stadium and play game 2, which we were victorious at, and then the tough task of going down to Melbourne, which was it was a foreign thing for me actually, to play in such a big stadium as well, at Etihad Stadium with the roof on it, the big kind of AFL size field with the stands being so far away. But it was an incredible experience. And then off the back of a great year of success, getting to represent Australia at the end of the year, as any kid out there aspiring to be a rugby league player, I ticked every box that I would have had, written on a piece of paper on the back of my door as a kid. So,
And still a young man.
Still a young man. Had my 21st birthday in Origin camp, and I think Darren Lockyer might have he might have partied harder than I did that night.
Take us back to that Origin debut and getting the phone call and the emotion of finding out you're going to represent Queensland for the first time.
See, I was one of those guys that liked to prank people and do silly phone calls and stuff like that. So I was really unsure if it was a real phone call to start off with, a bit of karma coming back to me. But, when I realised and knew that was Mel on the other end of the line, really unsure on how to explain the feelings and the emotions of it all. Again, I was really enjoying my football at that point in time, and I was a regular, consistent first grader, again at such a young age, and the opportunity came, and maybe I thought it might have been a little bit too early, but I was happy that Mel had showed some faith in me. But the phone calls to the family members and the friends afterwards were pretty good. I think they were, as soon as I'd got off the phone, they were already texting me through ticket orders and stuff like that, and they all wanted to be there for it.
29 games for Queensland, that was the first of them, a loss in that close loss, but then the series win. When did you feel as though you were an Origin player, that you felt comfortable at that level? How long did it take?
It takes a while. I think the hardest part is getting over the nerves, and it's not necessarily you get over it, you learn to use them. That first series I was so nervous, grateful for the opportunity, but nervous in the sense I didn't want to let Queensland down. And I think that became my driving factor later on in my career was, I didn't want to let Queensland down. I had to make sure that I was going out there and doing my best for Queensland, best for the players that were out there on the field with me. But I think playing a full series in 2006, missing a full series in 2007, really motivated me to get back in there. And it was probably at the end of the 2009 series where I was just, I'm locked in. I'm here 100%. I want to play for Queensland every year in every game. I don't want to ever give this jersey up. And that's probably when I realised that, I'm a fully fledged Queensland State of Origin player.
Can you believe, looking back on it, and particularly how close Origin has been over the years, that you made your debut in 2006, yet you didn't play in a losing series until 2014. I mean, that is an extraordinary run with extraordinary players.
Yeah, and I think that was the best part about it is the nucleus of our team was consistent throughout that long period of time. And I think it was so heartbreaking losing that series. And it was fuel to the fire to make sure that we ticked every box going forward to make sure that we could get back and be successful again. And I think that's what playing for Queensland's all about. Is we won 8 series in a row, but the one we lost was literally a kick in the guts that made us all feel so sad, as if we'd let the whole of Queensland down, and we wanted to make sure that we came back the following year and really represented Queensland to the best of our ability. So, it mucked up the run, but it's, I'm kind of glad that it happened because I got to reappreciate it a lot more after that.
Can you believe you played 29 games for Queensland?
No, not at all. Again, I walked into the FOG's office today and I was looking at the board of all the players that had played one game. And, I would have been happy to be one of those players, just to have the one next to it. But 29, to play in all the series I got to play in, with some childhood mates who I played football with and against, was absolutely incredible.
You mentioned earlier, growing up in Townsville, Nate Miles in Cairns, Scotty Prince, for example, another player from Mount Isa where you travel to, and there's players from all around regional Queensland. It says something about the regions of this state, doesn't it? That a player like yourself in Townsville, player like Nate in Cairns, Scotty in Mount Isa, can achieve what you have in the game.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where you are. I think at the end of the day, if you have a drive and you want to achieve anything in your life, you just have to put your mind to it. Make sure you ask a lot of questions. Make sure that you're out there working hard, and opportunities will come. I know so many guys from so many different little regional towns that have represented Queensland. I think that's what makes Queensland so special is we have got guys that come from farming backgrounds. We have got guys that grew up in these small towns where there wasn't a lot of people and had to drive 4 hours one way for a game and 4 hours back. We've got guys that come from some tough upbringings, but I think that's what makes Queenslanders Queenslanders. It's not just about the big cities that are along the coast. It's about every little map dot that's out there.
What does it mean to you to have been named in the Indigenous Team of the Century too? Where does that sit?
It's pretty crazy. I've got a jersey at home. It's framed, and I see some of the photos on it and some of the signatures, and I almost feel like almost feel like I lucked myself into that team. Just because when it was named, I was, still only, I was youngish in my career, and probably not until I retired and sat back and had a look at what I had achieved in the game over a long period of time. I think when you're playing, you're in the washing machine, and now that I've had a chance to dry on the clothesline, I'm, this shirt looks pretty good, and there's some great achievements there, and I'm so happy and proud that I got to play in the first ever Indigenous All-Stars game and represent my dad's heritage of the Torres Strait, but then also so proud and honoured to be named in the Indigenous Team of the Century as well.
Who had the biggest influence on your career?
Well, it's always family first. The sacrifices that my parents had to make to. I'm one of 5 boys. We all played different sports. My mum had the Mitsubishi Star Wagon, and there was kids piled in there for so many different games on so many different sides of Townsville. So first and foremost, them. My dad worked his butt off to make sure that we had the money to afford to pay for fees and buy boots and all those things. And then, from a football point of view, everyone I played with, they've all had some type of influence on me, whether it's a good influence or a bad influence. All of my coaches, Wayne Bennett from a club point of view, absolutely incredible for me. Knew when to kick me in the butt, knew when to give me a hug. Mal from a Queensland point of view, I thought he was brilliant. Again, a superhero as a leader, and if he told me to do anything, I would have out there on the field. From an Australian point of view, I had Tim Sheens as an Australian coach for a long period of time, and he was really brilliant, and letting me kind of do what I could out there, and really, excuse me, the coffee's got me. He let me kind of be the player I wanted to be out there on the field, and didn't hold me back at all. So, there's been a lot of great influences throughout my life on the football field, but also just in life in general.
Is there any advice you'd give a young person, boy or girl, who's sitting back as a aspiring rugby league player that could help them in their journey?
He's going to have to pull out some words of wisdom here. Be a good person first and foremost. That'll take you anywhere in life. You definitely need talent, but you also need to work hard. I've seen a lot of talented players who are a lot better players than I ever was, that kind of just faded off into the distance because they were not willing to work hard. Put yourself into situations where opportunities can arise. So, again, for myself, signing a contract with the Broncos instead of the Cowboys gave me the opportunity to meet the people I got to meet and be influenced by some of the game's greatest, and I think that really helped out with my career. So work on your talent, small skills always help. Work hard, be a nice person, and say yes to more things that you say no to.
Well, Sam Thaiday, as humble as you are, looking back on your career, 29 Origin games, 32 tests for Australia, Indigenous Team of the Century, a premiership winner, and over 300 games in the NRL, there have been few better players in the history of the game than Sam Thaiday. Congratulations on a wonderful career, and thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching this episode of the FOG's Queenslander podcast. If there's a FOG you want to hear from, leave a comment to let us know. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any of our videos.